Here we have the inside of the Lunar Lexon 660. If we firstly come to the main control panel, we can turn the 12 volts on just here. Beneath that we then have an entrance light. So if I now move over and press the button, you'll see the light go on and off. All the rest of the lights can then be individually turned on and off on their own switches. Beneath that we then have the water pump button. We need the water pump on so we can get water out of the taps and fill the boiler if it's been drained down. We then have awning light on and off. And then this button here will then scroll through its little menu screens giving us information. Unfortunately, the camera does not really pick up the screen well on this liquid crystal display, so I will press the button and explain what I'm seeing. So if I just go back to the beginning, this is a Sargent EC360 control panel. It's now displaying the condition of the leisure battery, and it's also letting us know that it's currently under charge as we are hooked up to the main supply. Next, it will give us an indication of the condition of the tow vehicle if we were hooked up. We then have battery selection. We'll only ever use the leisure battery on this as we are not a motorhome. We then can adjust the time, and we use the arrow down here to adjust the hour and then the minutes, and then we return back to the beginning again. Beside the Lunar control panel, we then have the panel for the Truma heating and hot water. We turn the panel on just here. Once we turn the panel on, you will see it display the time and let us know if we have main supply connected. If I now press the button just here, we will see all these icons appear, and as I rotate the button they will begin to flash. So if we start with the first icon just here, this is for your heating. Rotate the button and pick whatever temperature you would like it to be inside the caravan, right the way up to a rather toasty 30 degrees. So if I set it at 30 at the moment and I now press the button, this is now stored in, and you'll see a little flame has appeared above here. This little flame just represents the heating system, and it's just letting you know that you've set a parameter. Whenever the heating is in operation, the flame will begin to flash, and it will continue to flash until it's achieved the temperature you have asked it. If we now press the button again and move to the next icon, this one here is for hot water. So again, if I now click on it, hot water is off, and if I rotate, we can heat the water in eco mode, which will give us a temperature of about 40 degrees. If I rotate again, we can heat in hot, which will give us a temperature of about 60 degrees. And if I rotate again, we can also perform a boost on the boiler. The boost was mainly designed for if there's going to be more than one of you having a shower in quick succession of each other, or if you just want a longer shower. If you do perform the boost and the heating's running, it will turn the heating off as it needs that extra power to perform it. But if I now drop it back into eco mode, you'll see they're now both flashing. If we now rotate again to this icon, this is power source, so we are currently using mains electricity using 2 kilowatts. If I lower the power consumption to 1 kilowatt, which is handy if you are on a low amp site, we can pop it on to dual fuel mode, so a mixture of gas and mains at 2 kilowatt. This particular setting here is extremely handy, especially in the winter months. If you want to get up to temperature nice and quickly, it will only use gas as it's required. And then we also have a mixture of gas and mains at 1 kilowatt, again if we're on a lower amp site. And then if we have no mains at all, we can just run on gas. After power source, we then have circulation fan. At the moment the circulation fan is in eco mode. We can turn it up to high or put it into boost. We can also use the circulation fan to vent the caravan on a warm day. So if I now turn off hot water and I turn off the heating, and I now return to the fan, we can now put it in vent mode, and we have a fan speed of 1 to 10. If we now drop to the lower icons, this first one here is for a basic timer. So if I now click on it, we can set a start time and then an end time. And once we've done that, we just literally pick whatever temperature we would like it to be inside the caravan. So let's say 20, water at 60. We will use combination, and we'll put the fan into high. Lastly, timer on or off. If I now activate the timer icon will come up here, and now within that time period those settings would apply. If I now go back to it, we can turn the timer back off, and when we return into it we can then alter it again. Next we have clock set, and then lastly, next to the little symbol that's letting us know we have main supply connected, we have the settings menu. In there we have offset, which is just for the onboard thermostat. If you don't think it's quite correct, you can just adjust it slightly. Temperature, just if you prefer it displayed in Celsius or Fahrenheit. Brightness of the screen. 12 or 24-hour clock. Language. Index, which is more for my technicians, it just lets them know what software it's running. And then lastly, full factory reset. These control panels will throw up error codes from time to time. The main ones you will get are, I do not have mains, I do not have gas, and also if you turn this control panel off, it will throw up an error code. W255H is just letting us know that it no longer has 12 volt. So if I now turn the power back on again, click on the screen, it will automatically put itself out. So 9 times out of 10, as long as you rectify the problem, the error code will just disappear. If that's not the case, it's always a good idea, if you still have anything running up here, to just turn them off. If once you've done that you've still got an error code, I then always suggest the good old-fashioned turn it off, turn it back on again, and we just hold the button in to turn off and then turn back on again. If you still have an error code, I then always suggest just doing the factory reset, because occasionally from time to time these panels can just glitch and they just need to be reset. If we now come to the bench seat just here and we remove the cushions, we will find the Truma boiler itself to drain it down for winterization and for travel. It's just done on the yellow lever just here. Make sure the water pump is turned off and then flap up like so to drain all the water out of the boiler. To refill, flap back over, fill up your aqua roll, drop in your submersible and turn the water pump on, and then it will begin to prime the boiler back up. You will need to open the taps up to blow out any water through basically that's trapped with air. Once it's then flowing freely, close back down again and then the system will fully prime. Also in here we have the pressure switch just here, so if you're finding that you're getting any sort of pump overrun or it's really sort of banging away, you can slightly turn this. Never twist it quickly, you're only doing fine movements. And then we have the actual surge dampener itself just here. We have both control boards for the power touch motor mover, and then we also have the consumer unit. So we have the 12 volt fuses just here, all labelled up, and we have the trip switches just here, again all also labelled up. So if you lose main supply, just check to see whether or not you've tripped, or if something's not working on 12 volt, just check to see whether or not you've blown a fuse. Along the top here we have isolator switches for components that use main supply. So we have the green one just here for the battery charger. So if we turn this off when we're connected to main supply, we will not be charging the leisure battery, so it can really be left alone. It's for maintenance. Again, with the amber one, this one's for the Truma heating and hot water. So if you're running it on main supply and you turn this off, you will get an error code on the control panel. Most of these modern Sargent units all now come with full system shutdown, so if you're not using the caravan for long periods of time, you can press this button here and it will kill any residual draw on the leisure battery. Tucked here is the fuse for the solar panel. And the solar panel regulator is located in the overhead cupboard above the sink. You do not need to do anything with it. It will just smart charge the leisure battery as it's required. Underneath the other bench seat we have the Sargent alarm box. You do not need to do anything with it. It has its own battery in there, so if somebody does disconnect your leisure battery thinking they can get round the alarm still will go off. The PIR sensor for the alarm is just here. We then have the hot plate and 3 gas rings. The hot plate operates just here, and then everything else is gas, so it's push in, twist and push the igniter. Beneath we then have the grill, and again it's just push in, twist and push the igniter. And then beneath the grill, the oven. Beneath the oven we have the majority of the gas isolation taps. So we have hob and cooker, fridge and heating and hot water. They are all in the on position and can really stay like that. I always say if you smell gas in the caravan, go to the source and turn the gas bottle off. Also underneath here there is a plug plugged in, which is for the hot plate. We then have the microwave. It's always advisable to remove the plate for travel. We have quick start just here and stop, and then we have the auto menu, all your defrost etc. all along the top. Beneath we then have the Dometic fridge freezer on this button just here. We're currently running on mains electricity with the little picture of the 2-pin plug. If we want to run on gas, just press. These particular fridges will auto ignite themselves. If they fail to light, maybe due to a bit of air in the system etc., we will get a beeping sound and this part here will flash red. This little warning triangle just here works as a reset button, so you can then try again. And then lastly we have 12 volt maintain for when we're towing. So at the moment we are going to get a beeping sound and a red warning triangle just here because we are not hitched up to the tow vehicle. Next we have the unit's anti-condensation jacket. So this needs to be on when you're using the caravan in warm climate. I usually say anything well above 20 sort of degrees. This will then stop the unit from building up condensation behind it, which would then run down and form a puddle of water underneath it. And then temperature control just here. Both doors are fitted with venting points for when you're not using it. So just slightly push in and then slide out, and then you can hold the doors on a jar. If we now come to the larger wardrobe, we have the television aerial in here. The digital amplifier sits at the back here, on and off on the top, and then you can control the boost just here. These particular amplifiers have a signal finder built into them, so depending on the colour of the light in the little window there, lets you know the signal strength. To adjust the television aerial itself, undo and loosen the collar and then push up. This little green window here represents the back of the aerial, so you know which way it's facing. Then make sure you've got a nice, hopefully strong green light just there, and then lock into place. If you do need to do additional tuning, you can flip it from the horizontal position into the vertical position by turning the tail just here. Always make sure that before travel you are back to the horizontal position and that the H is facing the front of the caravan. We have ample storage underneath the bed. Also currently underneath here we have the Alco jack and the two Alco wheel locks. And then if we move into the washroom, we have the shower and the basin, and then the Thetford toilet. To open to the cassette, just move the grey lever just here and then push the flush on top. Level indicator just here to let you know when the cassette needs emptying, and then close back up again. If this has been left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out. So if you are feeling resistance, just make sure that nobody's left it open. TV points just here. So we have 12-volt plug-in, mains plug-in, and then aerial and satellite fly lead points. And then same again for the front of the caravan.